So Obama recently has reversed a FEMA decision to give additional disaster relief to West Texas for the fertilizer plant that exploded on April 17th of this year in West Texas.
Yeah.
The fertilizer plant killed at least 15 people and injured more than 160 people. It was disastrous. It was all over the news. If anybody follows the news, you will know about this explosion.
I mean, he had like thousands of times more fertilizer than he was supposed to have.
Right. So the plant wasn't inspected by OSHA.
There's no regulation?
No, it was inspected, right? In 1985.
Oh.
28 years ago.
Yeah. Well, we can thank deregulation for that.
Yeah. And there was actually, in 1985, this is not on my notes here, but I read that they had serious regulations that they were breaking.
Okay.
Do you know how much they were fined?
No.
Can you guess?
$100,000.
$30 they were fined.
That's crazy.
In 1985.
Okay.
And then never again did OSHA come back. So they were just stockpiling this fertilizer.
Yeah.
They had over 1,000 times what you're supposed to be stockpiling in one location. And obviously, when you have that much fertilizer in there, it's going to eventually explode.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Very dangerous.
So it was so bad that when people a couple days later, were trying to go back to their homes, they had to be turned away.
Yeah.
Because the gas leaks were so heavy that there was just fumes everywhere. It would just wreck people's lungs. They had to be turned away. So they initially got disaster relief from FEMA.
Okay.
I don't even know the exact number.
Okay. They got something, though.
They got some money.
And it's because the owner of this company had $1 million of insurance.
Yeah. The fertilizer alone cost more than $1 million.
Yeah. So the insurance couldn't cover the replacement of the fertilizer
or the plant,
let alone the compensating the families that had family members pass away.
It also burned huge amounts of land and homes and buildings.
Yeah.
It did millions of dollars in damages.
Right.
They only had $1 million in insurance.
Yeah.
So they were initially given, West Texas was initially declared a disaster zone, and they were given some funds by FEMA.
Okay.
So June 13th of this year, FEMA denied additional aid, and that was $35 million to West Texas.
They denied $35 million.
They denied it because Texas couldn't provide the necessary funds, or they couldn't prove that they had it to rebuild the area.
Okay.
So they denied it. So last Friday, on August 2nd, Obama overruled that FEMA decision and declared the explosion and the area around it still a disaster area and provided those funds. Rick Perry and Representative Bill Florez from Texas said for the Sandy Relief Fund, the Hurricane Sandy.
They said they're going to use it for bonuses and blah, blah, blah.
They said, they just want a loan so they can pay for this and that and not actually put it towards the disaster relief.
Yeah.
They have enough money. We don't need to give them more money.
Right.
They voted no on giving more or giving Hurricane Sandy aid to New Jersey and New York and a lot of other parts of the East Coast. They voted no on that. But then they beg for the money. They beg for it. We need it. It's a disaster.
Yep.
So I got a couple of quotes. First one's from Rick Perry about this decision that happened last Friday. He says, quote, "The approval of the state's appeal for a major disaster declaration is great and welcome news for the people of West Texas. This will help this community rebuild their infrastructure, school district, and public works as quickly as possible."
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Right.
Because it will do those things.
Yeah.
So, Representative Bill Flores also made a statement and thanked the president for it. He says, the city of West Texas, he says the city of West, I assume it's just West Texas, has been through so much since the tragic explosion in April, which took 15 lives, injured hundreds, and caused tens of millions of dollars in damage. While I often disagree with President Obama on many issues, I applaud this decision to support this Central Texas community's efforts to rebuild and to recover.
So you had to just throw that little bit in there.
Yeah, so I want to tell you what he said about Hurricane Sandy aid.
Okay.
So he was questioned about his vote and if it would be different if it were for Texas.
Okay.
So he says it depends on the nature and the timing of the needs.
This is what he was asked when somebody said, well, you're saying no to Sandy. What if it was from Texas?
Right.
Okay.
So he said if we had a disaster in Texas, and by the way, this is last year.
Okay.
If we had a disaster in Texas and federal funding was required immediately and required by this vote, I would have voted yes.
But not for Sandy.
Not for Sandy. This is not the case, though. This is a different situation. There is money to go around to the people affected by Sandy, so we're not cutting anybody off here. So they asked him, would your vote be different if it was for Texas? And he said, yes, it would.
Yeah.
It would be completely different. But this is not a vote for Texas.
Right.
This is a vote for other states in the East Coast, so my vote is no. It's more so like you haven't eaten forever.
Yeah.
You need some food.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you food.
Yeah.
And Thomas says, no, you're not allowed to have food.
Yeah.
Because you don't need it.
Yeah.
But I do.
Yeah.
So give it to me instead.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.